Hey, y'all, we're waiting for Jacob from the brewery to get in here to get started. Trying to buy him some time.
Oh, they have plenty of time. Yep.
Still waiting for some people, it looks like.
Yep, we'll just give the attendees a minute or two to make sure everyone can get in and we'll get it started.
All right. See if I can drag him away from the line. Can y'all hear all right?
Yes.
I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
You can now? Okay, I'm gonna switch this microphone, see if it works.
Okay.
How about now?
That one's mirror.
That's okay. That's worse. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
worse.
the volume went down.
Back to the AirPods. All right then.
It works.
I'll get rid of this whole thing then.
It was worth a try.
You know, you try to get fancy and it knocks you back down sometimes.
I think it's just a tough day for technology. That's what's going on. That's the vibe of the day. Been running into a little technical.
That's every day. Well, I brought a secret weapon, so don't worry.
Oh, that's exciting.
All else fails, I have kittens.
Kittens.
Hey, Joel or Chaz, if you're still on, any reason why for the attendee list, I'm seeing Richard Chamberlain listed like 20 sometimes?
He might have been trying to get in multiple times. That's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, I'm seeing that too. I don't know what's up with that.
I'll look into it and see if I can figure out what's going on.
Thanks, Joel.
Kittens will save everything, guys.
It's true.
Oh, look at that.
So if it all goes to hell, you just tell me to hit. You tell me to hit the kitten button.
Love it.
I got 3 of these on deck.
Keep them coming. That's the kind of programming I'm here for.
Yeah, this is gonna save the day, guys. Don't worry. If I
Nice.
don't crawl out of this cage.
Brilliant.
Okay, come on. I know. Here we go. Let go of that. Gotta let go of the bracelet.
All right, where is everybody?
So Chaz, we're at 3:04. What do you think? A couple more minutes here? 'Cause I don't see that many attendees.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Someone said in the looks like the chat they had problems getting in and they had to register again.
We've got time on our end, so I've got patience if y'all need more time. It's not a problem over here. We're still waiting for Jake to tear himself away from the packaging line, so.
Yeah, for some reason, Zoom is spamming the name Richard Chamberlain for a lot of different participants. So it's not all one person. It's actually multiple participants, but for some reason their names are all coming in as the same name. So I think that we do have a lot of attendees, just that the names aren't quite populating the way that they should. But I'm looking into it.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Okay, Chaz, so if that doesn't get fixed in terms of the drawing, we'll just have to do the random number generator, look on the spreadsheet, and then we can just ask if that person's on and they can either raise their hand or let us know through the chat window.
Yeah, that works.
Gotta use these as distraction since I'm not drinking hinterland beer.
And
Kids
give
are
me a
nice.
second.
It's a little haunting.
We're going to try to fix the technical difficulties as we go here. I'm getting some people. I guess you can only see if you're a participant, you probably can only see the person talking, which is fine. If you are a panelist, then you probably can see everybody, which is fine. So if I look at the attendee list, we have a lot of Richard Chamberlains. I think maybe there was a link for Richard that was sent to a bunch of people. So we're just going to get started here in the interest of time. I'm Michael Syrian, Camera Corner Connecting Point. I've been here 25 years. I will be your host, hopefully, for today. There are people that are in Green Bay at Camera Corner Connecting Point, and down in Buffalo Grove, Illinois at ACP, and customers from all over. So this is the Dell Hinterland tasting event. And on behalf of Rick Chernick and Ryan Chernick from Green Bay and Scott Dunsire down in Buffalo Grove, we wanted to thank our attendees for taking time out of your busy day to attend this event, to learn more about Dell. We do an awful lot of sales of Dell, especially down in the Buffalo Grove office or out of the Buffalo Grove office. We are a Dell Platinum reseller, which is pretty high on their list. So I'm going to just quickly have Carl Yakosalem, right, introduce himself, and then if Stephanie wants to introduce herself quick, and just do that real quick for us.
Thanks, Michael. Carl Jakoslem here. I'm a principal engineer and field client technologist for Dell, handling the Midwest here for the US.
Thank you, Carl. And Stephanie, are you on? So I don't hear her on, but I think Carl is just doing the presentation. So we'll get back to Carl and Stephanie in a minute. But first of all, we're going to have a little bit of fun. I'm going to attempt to introduce this guy. He's pretty famous. If you look on his Wikipedia site, which he loves, he's been in TV. He's been in film, and he's done some done a couple albums. And I think he just got off the Duck Dynasty set, if I'm not incorrect. But I'm going to turn it over to our comedian, Kyle. Kyle, take it away.
Good afternoon, I guess it is where we are. So congratulations on your. I was not given hinterland beer. I'm drinking corporate beer, but to provide a distraction while I do drink that, I brought kittens. So look at that while I do this. Oh, that delicious taste of craft beer. And also keep in mind, if you don't laugh at these jokes,
Kittens.
one of them's gonna get it. I got 3 of them, and so that's 15 minutes every 5 minutes. If I don't get enough laughs,
Kitten time.
keep in mind. I would never. I might juggle them since there's 3, and you see 3 anything. That's just what you want to do, and they're so soft. Well, let's talk about it. It's 1 p.m. where I am, and I got into uh, decided to just join in. You should be thankful that your employers enjoy letting you do this. We're going to enjoy some craft beers today, which got not since aftermarket Corvette accessories has man's midlife crisis hobbies given the world something so revered as craft beer. Boy, you know, they say divorce isn't great, but it has given us the fruity hops of a nice. I'm not familiar with craft beer, if I'm being honest. I kind of get lost in the jargon, is what happens to me when I drink craft beer. I went to a craft beer bar once and asked the guy for about a certain type of beer. He described it. He said it had a real drinkability. That's how he described the beer, that it had a drinkability. That's good. That's what you're supposed to be able to do with it. That's just the quality. That's just what a beverage should be like. It's viscous, great. That's what a liquid should do. Like, that's not a selling point of a drink. Is it a drink? If you went to a restaurant, you're like, how's the food? They're like, you could eat it. You wouldn't eat at that restaurant. So there's got to be better ways to describe the craft beer scene. I'm as a more mature, I look like I own Sam Adams, so I should enjoy better beer than I drink, because I do look like one of those guys. There, why talk about competitors when we could talk about the Hinterland Brewery right now? Hinterland, which is German for meet me around back, threat or innuendo, who knows? But Hinterland Brewery, as I've learned from their website, was built in an old cheese factory in Green Bay, which how bad do you have to be at cheese making to go out of business in Wisconsin? But lateral move, became a brewery, so that makes sense. And okay, this is
close.
Is it close? Yeah.
They started out, Bill started out making beer in the back of a cheese factory that still exists, and then moved to a brick and mortar space downtown. And then now we've relocated directly across from Lambeau. So that the cheese factory still makes cheese.
Okay.
But Bill had a little spot in the back of it when he was first starting out.
An upstart beer company in the back of a cheese factory.
Exactly.
You don't get more Wisconsin with that without bringing a serial killer into it.
Utilization.
And hey, if you don't like me making fun of Wisconsin, keep in mind I'm also from Chicago, so you already hate me. Anyway, I hold on, I'm gonna. So craft beers, usually, I mean, I don't know. I'm drinking what I drink. We can crap on other beers, right? We can take shots at other beers. Heineken, if you like Heineken, you probably would also enjoy Cheating on Your Wife. That's a horrible beer. Who drinks those? That Heineken is actually Dutch for we brew this in an old aquarium. That's, I don't know if you know that about Heineken. But I don't know if anybody's done this yet in quarantine. Have you waterboarded yourself trying to drink while forgetting you're wearing a face mask? Because I do that a couple times a week still at this point. A couple times a week, I throw a cold one right through the old face mask, and I give up some secrets. It does work. Okay. I have jokes that are not about beer, but I want to do beer stuff because I want to talk about the beers that you are possibly enjoying from Hinterland. And you can assist me with this, Jake and Scott, because that's the name on your Zoom meeting.
I'm Emily for now. Well, I will always be Emily, but hopefully Jake of Jake and Scott will be able to join in here shortly.
Well, I mean, we have pronouns of they, them for a reason, so you can be Jake and Scott if you want to. No problem. It's 2021 and we're progressive people. So let's talk about the beers. I was reading, there's going to be a Citra, which has a surprisingly low bitterness. What a nice thing to point out. The horrible bitterness won't hit you right away. It doesn't taste like you're eating something that was found growing between sidewalk cracks. How refreshing. So that's going to be one we're going to drink. Jamaican. Ah, yes. You know what Jamaica is known for. And this isn't it. This is some beer. So this is the perfect beer to drink at a hot tub at a sandals resort before your first threesome. Whoops. Okay, that's the description they sent me. I don't know if they sent you the same description, but that's the one they sent me. And it's a Jamaican haze. and which means it's not red stripe, but it's not marijuana, but hey, let's have some of it. Let's not bring up marijuana around the Dell people. They fired that one guy. Anyway, back to the alcohol. Well, those are the only two I got out of that one. The other ones were just kind of like, it's always like hoppy, like a hops. The best I can tell hops are what it's like if somebody ate some walnuts, didn't like them, and then spit them out into my face. That's what hops taste like to me. It's rough, but don't let my white trash opinion distract you from the delicious hoppy barley stuff that goes in there. I also brought up a beer list for myself because I wanted to educate myself through this effort. And Jake Scott, please help me along with these types of beers. So now we're gonna have, we have now American craft beer. You consider yourself American craft beer, correct?
Yes.
And we're gonna have do we have a brown ale in there?
There's not a brown ale. We do have the Puchki, which is a stout. So that's the final beer is a stout. So that's as close as you're going to get. Most of these are a little bit of a lighter style.
What was the pronunciation of that?
Puchki.
Puchki. We got it right. It's a whole pastry.
It is.
Now it's in your beer.
Exactly.
And that's hope you didn't see the label on that one. Am I losing the audience? Sorry, kid. You grew up, you got ugly. We got to get a new one. So we got a punchki. Oh, someone looks like they're happy to participate. All right. Just put you on the keyboard for right now. Oh. Never work with animals, people. India, do we have an Irish red ale? Do we have any of that? In these American craft beers, I have a list of Czech Pilsner, Irish red ale, wit beer. Listen, I'll be honest. I fell in my shower because I drink a bit much. So my palate is a bit different than most folks. And when it's not like I was an alcoholic and like couldn't wait to get to the shower. I enjoy a nice drink in the shower.
That's a normal thing.
Because I think everybody in this world deserves a spa day. All right. You could drive somewhere, have cucumber slices on your eyes, they give you champagne. That's acceptable. You want to do it in your own bathroom with a 6-pack on the back of the toilet, and all of a sudden you're supposed to go to meetings. Why are we casting judgment that way? That's unfair. This one's getting that. This one wasn't ready for camera. I should have stuck with the first one. You're witnessing the kitten audition process for this. I got another corporate gig with the ASPCA after this, and I'm just gonna crush beers through that whole thing. I think I got my timing screwed up on my gigs today. So I did fall in. Oh boy, this has got okay. As long as they're not my cats. I'm at a friend's house, so really. You're up for adopt. I'll push Mento foster kittens. Check them out. You can get just all right. Come on, stop. It's not jokes, but it's still entertaining. You know what I'm saying? Everybody loves these segments when it was on Johnny Carson. So come on. Yeah, I don't. Oh my God. I don't want to say I'm getting. Now I'm moving into just the jokes part. I don't want to say I'm getting older, but I think the Pope has been making some decent points lately. Does that mean you're getting older? When you hear the Pope, he's like, gay people are all right. We shouldn't trust the robots too much. I'm like, this guy, I think even he's coming around. Okay, maybe that's just me. Quarantine has proven to me that I will be okay to accept a Mars mission. I've been fine. I've been alone for 10 months, and as long as there's good snacks, I could do it. Well, you're going to be sitting still, no problem. I have to exercise for the same reason astronauts do, just to make sure all the muscle doesn't just fall off your bones. That's all I have to do at this point. So it's been good. I did buy a gun during quarantine, which is not normally I didn't think I would be. I bought a gun. I should not have a gun. I actually dropped it right away because I had too much moisturizer on my hands. So that should tell you why I shouldn't have a gun. All that hand sanitizer, and I just slipped right out of there. So that's not good gun safety. I the problem is I shouldn't have a gun because I do also drink, and that's the problem. After a few drinks, you know, I'm like, I wonder what that gun's up to. That's why I've gotten better at guitar, because I'm like, I want to do something with my hands and like practice guitar. And so I'm really, smoke on the water has never sounded better since I bought that gun. I'll tell you that much. You really got to redirect your focus on that. So that works out all right. Let's go to another beer. Let's talk about lagers. Who doesn't like this one? This problematic. This one, bit of a prima donna with this one. Lager beers. Who doesn't like a lager
How many cats
beer?
do you have, Kyle?
That's the kind of cool, refreshing
3.
beer
Oh,
you can enjoy in a swimming pool. And nice swimming pool boots here will help me along with a lager beer. Any interest? Not much. Okay, well, there's the review. I bet if it was a hinterland beer, we'd enjoy it. See, sold it, moved it, and we're totally enjoying this from a Dell laptop, maybe. Okay.
Maybe.
Lager is a great beer for, that's the kind of beer you really see rolling off the back of a boat. That's what a lager is. That's a summertime beer. That's sure, I bet I could water ski. That's the kind of beer you want. That's a refreshing summer light beer. Am I right on that?
Most certainly.
That's the one you want. A stout and a porter, that's real good for when you want to taste something and then move on. That's my opinion on stouts and porter. You know what? I want, is there such a thing as flat soy sauce? I'd love a nice big glass of flat soy sauce.
With soy sauce,
Something
usually
that was supposed to be poured over a turkey. Do you have that? Can I have, not quite gravy though, just something like a low sodium au jus. That I would love, a nice glass. You can put it in the fridge. It'll never be cold. That's what I know about that beer. It'll never feel cold. It'll be hot and thick, and you will be tired. That's what I get from those beers. Comes with a fork and knife if you need to cut into that. Irish Red, I'm from Ireland. I don't know the beer types, but I have the gene, so we've accepted that.
hey, Kyle, we're going to give you about 2 minutes here, buddy.
I didn't do the kitten distraction. That's my fault. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Give you about 2 minutes, then we're going to move on.
Oh, I'm getting the 2 minute on here.
Yep.
Well,
I'm the guy with
I
the hook.
wanted to. Oh my God, are you giving me the Sandman? I'll bring 3 kittens out. I'm going to close with 3 kittens. I'm going to give you 3 kittens to close it. Here we go. We got 1 up. We got 2. This is going to close it. All right. Remember, if you didn't like my jokes,
kitten's fault.
I'm still an animal lover. And you can't hate that.
Nope.
You
Nope.
can't hate this much adorable. Take my
Absolutely.
face out of it. Photoshop my face out of it. But know that these kittens are cared for with by a drunk man in the middle of the afternoon in Sacramento today. So thank you, everybody. Enjoy your
Great.
beer tastings.
Thank
I wish
Front.
everybody could give it up for Kyle. I
Thank
assure you they're clapping inside. So
Jesus, this was
Um,
a bad idea.
thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Carl from Dell. He's going to give us a presentation. And Carl, if you're ready, you can take it away.
All right, thanks, Michael. Let me know if you can see this. I'm going to set this up here really quick. And just give me the thumbs up or green light, or let me know verbally if you can see that.
Yep, you're all good.
Awesome. Again, thanks, Michael. And hey, thank you everyone for allowing Dell Technologies to share a little bit of your afternoon with us. Really appreciate it. Again, my name is Carl DeCozlum, and I'm a principal engineer and field client technologist here in the Midwest, covering North America. I wanted to share some product highlights coming out this year that can help you as well as your company's end users really stay better connected and really productive virtually as well as in person, right? Once we all get that green light to return to work or resume travel, right? Um, so, looking back at over the past year, after we got the call to move our work from home, um, I can't help but wonder and wish we all had the new Latitude 9000 series laptop back then, right? So I want to take a quick minute to show you why.
When intelligence is added to premium features, everything is elevated. The camera enhances every shot. The QHD display broadens the view of what's possible while reducing low blue light. Extraordinary processing power is directed with greater purpose and stays cool even under pressure. Immersive audio empowers the clearest collaboration. Connections are stronger and faster than ever with Wi-Fi 6, 5G and Express Connect. The new Latitude 9420, leading the new age of intelligence.
So the Latitude 9000 series, you guys, are part of Dell's new line of laptops to help us all collaborate with beautiful 4K displays, Infinity Edge bezels, intelligent audio, low blue light panels, Thunderbolt 4 ports, all powered by Intel's newest generation of Tiger Lake processors. They incorporate Dell innovations like top firing speakers, allowing us to hear our teams and customers, while four noise canceling microphones located here at the top of the screen away from the noises like system fans and us typing on our keyboards allow you to be heard clearly without the need for a separate mic, right? And look, as we've become pros of applications such as Teams and Zoom, on-screen collaboration has been the norm this past year, right? And probably the future. The Dell Latitude 9000s offer the industry's first automatic webcam shutter. We call it Safe Shutter, automatically opening and closing when your virtual meetings begin and end, all the while allowing you full control of when that camera shutter is open or closed. So that's pretty cool. For those in the audience that are new to Dell, customers from SMB to large commercial, in addition to education, government, healthcare and engineering really trust us with our mobile challenges because, we have that full breadth of portfolio to meet the needs of every work style within their environment, right? And only Dell does this end to end. From our industry-leading Latitude laptops, our Optiplex desktops, as well as our precision workstations, all supported by the peripherals and the displays and the security and support that you need. And really to help add some clarity to our new customers in the audience, let me share this quick decoder ring to make you an expert of our laptop modeling numbers, right? So if you're going through some brochures on the web and you see a Latitude 5421, as this example shows, the first number describes a family, 3, 5, 7, or 9. Think essential, think mainstream, premium, and ultra premium, or good, better, best, and like best plus, right? That second number, where the 4 is, that describes the screen size. So 3 for 13, 4 for 14, 5 for 15 inch. And our new models this year will have a 2 in that third place for a 2021 and the Tiger Lake processor. While that last number will let you know if it's a Tiger Lake U or H-class Proc, or if it's a Chromebook, right? So hopefully that kind of gives some clarity when you're looking at a part number. All right, so one of our newest 15-inch laptops is the Latitude 7520 here on screen. The 7520 represents the 7,000 lines first 15-inch offering, available in full HD as well as 4K options, along with Intel's Tiger Lake processor. Available in both aluminum or carbon fiber, this 7520 comes in about a little bit over 3 pounds, with a large display, also top firing speakers, and our largest premium click pad, right? This one has an embedded mechanical camera shutter, so you don't have to put your piece of tape that a lot of us do. It actually has a mechanical one that you can slide left and right. And along with Dell Optimizer, our exclusive AI engine that improves system performance based on how you use it, along with a proximity sensor that you can order, this unit can detect your presence and wakes your PC for faster sign-in, and then also locks the screen to keep data safe when you walk away. So probably not as much relevancy here at home, but when we start traveling, that's going to be super important. For users in your company looking for more of that tablet experience, we will be launching a 7320 detachable configuration, really as a follow-on to an existing 12-inch we have called the 7210 2-in-1. On screen on the left-hand side is our 13-inch, and as this side-by-side compare illustrates, despite there's a larger 13-inch screen on the left, the physical panel is smaller than the existing 12-inch on the right, right? This laptop, if you see right above the keyboard, features a pen charging cradle. That charges the pen in about 30 seconds, so super quick. Also having Thunderbolt 4 ports, Comfort View Plus display options. So that's, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, more of that blue light reduction, as well as proximity sensors here to sign in much faster. So pretty cool stuff coming out. This one will be out at the end of the month. We've made a lot of improvements, you guys, in our thermal design, implementing dual opposite outlets, really as learnings cascaded from our precision mobile workstations. With the majority or almost all of us collaborating virtually still, these thermal improvements will help move more air to cool the processor and the components, especially when they're throttled by resource-heavy applications like Zoom and Teams. I'm sure you've experienced that yourself. And we're talking about collaboration, but ultimately we're talking about that user experience, and we want to elevate that user experience. And one of the ways we can do that is to minimize eye fatigue. I mentioned Dell's Comfort View Plus technology. That suppresses that harmful blue light from a hardware perspective versus software. So you don't get that yellow tint as if you were to purchase, if you were to purchase the blue light glasses from the web, right? Additionally, we can help your company's sustainability efforts by implementing products such as Dell Latitude 5000 laptops, picture on the right here, which leverages 21% of its lid material from bioplastics made from trees, along with the already 50% of material made from recycled products. So very cool, very great sustainability story, and can help your company with that effort. Now, for those of us who would like to leverage our existing laptops, but improve the audio and microphone performance, right? We have this new Dell mobile adapter with speakerphone. Pretty cool unit, very small. You can take with you in meetings or obviously use at home. You simply plug it into your laptop's USB-C port, and you'll have the world's first all-in-one connectivity and conference solution right on your desk. And check it out, with 90 watts of power delivery, you can power up your phone, your peripherals, while taking advantage of the built-in speakerphone. So pretty cool. And these are cool too. So an alternative to traditional desktops and laptops, while providing that super clean, that clutter-free workspace. The new Dell 7090 and 3090 Optiplex Ultras have launched at the end of January and are available today. So with the compute located inside that monitor stand, right? Um, Really, the ultras level up that work from home area, right? Um, and the stands have two flavors. You have the choice between one that can handle up to a 27-inch monitor, or you can get the large height adjustable stand that can handle up to a beautiful 40-inch ultra sharp display from Dell. But no worries if you already have your favorite monitor and ARM setup, right? These new Optiplex Ultras are so versatile that they can be mounted behind your screen with a Visa mount, um, in a bracket on your office wall if you wanted to, or stay on or under your desk. So a lot of versatility in the Ultras. For users in your environment who prefer that traditional desktop PC form factor, we'll have the new Optiplex line, including our popular all-in-ones, launching next quarter with the new Intel Rocket Lake processors, right? All right, guys. So after a year of virtual meetings, right? We've been doing this for a year, which is just blows my mind. It's time to take what we've learned from our laptops to the new level. Um, we've all experienced looking at our webcam, kind of hunched over, looking down at our keyboard, at the webcam, speaking into the microphone in our laptops. Well, with these new monitors, Dell's new 24, 27-inch, and 34-inch curved video collaboration monitors, we can communicate with our coworkers, our customers, and friends directly through the display at eye level, right? With a built-in 5-megapixel pop-up camera, which is more than double your laptop's resolution, in addition to the forward-facing speaker bar and built-in microphones, we can elevate that productivity. We can free up that desk space. Plus, we can power up your laptop with Dell's new video conferencing monitors. So kind of to add on to these monitors provide that camera angle with a 70-degree field of view and pre-tilt. So, whether you're seated or standing, uh, your audience can see you, right? And these video conferencing monitors also come with Comfort View Plus, and always on built-in low blue light technology that optimizes that eye comfort by reducing potentially harmful blue light emissions while delivering really accurate color accuracy, right? So very cool. You're at eye level. When you pop up that camera, it's kind of like a clicker pen. You click on it, it'll pop up. Click on it, it will pop down. Once you engage it, the camera goes on. Your microphone goes on. Your speaker bar will stay on regardless if it's open or closed, right? But your eye level, no longer bent over, looking down at your keyboard and webcam. And of course, along with video, excellent audio is also a vital feature needed for conferencing. This monitor has two 5-watt integrated speakers designed to deliver clear, vibrant communication from really any workspace. It also has a dual array noise canceling microphone, which is perfect for calling background noise, so communication between users remain clear, right? Noise cancellation is super crucial for making sure that you can be heard while taking calls in a busy environment. And look, along with your ACP Creative IT team, we can help you with your return to work conferencing strategies as you plan for what work might look like post-pandemic. I speak with commercial as well as educational institutions every day, and they're currently looking at what their conference room solutions are going to look like once people start returning to work. And so we have several solutions you guys can check out. Let me show you here a couple here. The Dell Meeting Space Solutions for Microsoft Teams Rooms comes in 3 configurations with touch as well as non-touch interactive solutions, depending on your conference room needs or preference, right? We have configurations for rooms accommodating anywhere from 2 to 15 people. So for example, the small rooms, one on the left-hand side, can accommodate 2 to 4 people. The medium can go up to 8, and the large is designed for more like 12 to 15, right? So you can work with your ACP account managers in Buffalo Grove or your CCCP account managers in Green Bay for these solutions, along with any of the products mentioned today. Okay? And with that, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to share some of our new products and innovations. And it's my pleasure to throw it back to Michael. Mike?
Bear with me. I'm getting there.
You're good.
Thank you, Carl. So I think there's been some technical difficulties with the panelists and presenters, but anyway, I apologize for that. So one of the questions, I assumed everybody could see the questions.
Oh, let me open up the chat here. Sorry, I wasn't able to see it while I was presenting.
No, that's okay. You were busy, so I understand.
Hey, Michael, this
Yeah.
is Stephanie. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I think one of the questions that I saw, and I apologize, I've had a lot of issues with Zoom and staying on. So, but what I did see is the longer life cycles for enterprise, right? So that's a key brand tenet for Dell. So across all of our client lines of business, we really work with our supply chains and our customers to ensure that we have that long overlap between one generation and the next follow-on generation, so that IT staff, IT administrators, and anyone involved in any sort of stakeholder with regard to that sort of transition in a corporate environment or an education environment has the time that they need to test and qualify those images and deploy them across their environment. So it's not just a light switch. So that's what that's speaking to. Were there any other questions?
There
Did
was
anybody
one,
else add? Or?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to address this. So Dan asks, so Dell Direct versus VAR, what size needs does Dell consider a direct option the best?
Dell Direct versus VAR. So I would say, we're all here because we work with ACP and CCCP as a partner. So if that's the question, I think it's just, look, we're going to work together, in whatever way, shape, or form that is to win together, right, as a team. So that's the goal of everybody on the phone. To us on our team, it makes no difference. Like any opportunity, in any project, we want to work together and we want to win, and we want to find the best solutions and the best outcomes for the customer.
Great answer. Any other questions out there that anybody has? Oh, I think there's one more here. Can you combine leasing and services as well into something like PC as a service?
Sure, we have a services PC as a service offering. It's a little different than a lease. I mean, certainly you could lease, right? That is an option. PC as a service is more of a bundled service, deliverable. So it just adds a little bit more, features and benefits to what a traditional lease is, in terms of being able to flex your deployment up a certain percentage, being able to flex it down in terms of the number of devices, because we all know things can change, and sometimes things can change rapidly, right? So, and we can do that with any of the various client products. We can add, differentiate warranty services. We can even talk about some of the pro deployment services. We can work with our partner community on co-delivering those. So there's, lots and lots and lots of options. Within Dell, we do treat leases a little bit differently than PC as a service, only because PC as a service is a separate branded service, but they function in much the same way with just some different features and benefits.
Yeah, Dan followed up with his direct versus VAR question, saying, you know, CCCP is a great organization within Wisconsin, but we're not global. So that's a great point, Dan. Thanks for bringing that up. From Kevin, what latitude version is generally bought by a medium-sized company? Platform 357. I'm assuming
Yeah,
i357.
So this is Carl. A lot of the deployments I work with are centered around the 5000 series as well as 7000 series. The 5000 series gives you the most combinations of screen size, memory, hard drive, right? Also in the 5000 series, if you go with the 15-inch version, for example, you can provide your end users with that 10-key numeric keypad if they still have need for that. Where in the 7000 series as well as 9000, the 15-inch is really without that 10-key keypad, right? And so 5000 and 7000 to answer the question.
Great, thank you. Any other questions out there? Okay, if anybody has, you know, so I know there's a lot of attendees on this call. There's a lot of reps on this call. If any of our customers, clients have additional questions, you can certainly reach out to your CCCP or ACP rep, and we can take some of these offline and get Stephanie involved and Carl if we need to. So reach back out to your reps. Carl and Stephanie, thanks for your time. I mean, you're welcome to stick around. I hope you do for the beer tasting. If there's no more questions, again, thank you very much, Carl and Stephanie from Dell, for your time today. So I think what we're going to do now, before we get to the beer tasting, because you never know, I might fall off my chair, we're going to do some giveaways for people that are on the call. So you must be present to win. So the way I'm going to have to do this is, how we're going to do this is I have a list of all attendees on a spreadsheet, and let's see. Are you done sharing yours? Can I share my screen? I can share my screen. Bear with me, folks. I don't want that screen. Bear with me. Everybody, just look at how good that beer is. Make sure you got your Hinterland virtual beer tasting sheet out, and make sure you got your cups ready and your water ready. Random number generator. Okay, let's see if I can share this. You guys can see that screen, correct?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, great. I just got to flip over to this one quick. All right, so in no particular order, I have a spreadsheet with line numbers on it. We're going to give away 4 Yeti portable coolers, and I'm going to generate the first number, and then if you're there, Chaz, are you going to write these names down, or am I going to do everything?
I'll write them down for you.
All right, great. All right, so the first one, we're going to generate number 10. Number 10. Wow. Number 10. Matt Roberts from Integrated Community Solutions. Matt, are you on? Chaz, you're going to have to see if he's on too.
Yep, looks like he is on.
Okay, Matt Roberts, congratulations. The second Yeti cooler, we're going to generate this number here.
Michael, you got to change the max number in the random generator to how many.
Oh, good call. Good call. Number 10 got lucky. We're not going to penalize you. But, all right, here we go. 61. Roger Anderson from Full Compass Systems. Roger, are you on? Any feedback, Chaz?
I am not seeing anything right now from, oh, yep, he is here.
Very good. Thank you, Roger. Here we go again. The third Yeti cooler is number 33 on my list, my Excel spreadsheet. I don't want to, John Cronenberg from Nicolay Federated Library Systems. John, are you on?
Yep, he is on.
Okay. And the fourth, last but not least, winner of a Yeti portable cooler, number 8. Number 8, Michael Searing at Camera Corner. I mean, who would have thought? Number 8, Nate Pfeiffer at Humana. Nate Pfeiffer at Humana. Nate, are you on? Looking for Nate.
Not seeing anything yet.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we'll go draw another number here.
He is here.
Nate, are you there?
Looks like he's here.
All right, very good. So that are our 4 winners. Matt Roberts at ICS, Roger at Full Compass, John at Nicolay Federated Library, and Nate at Humana. So congratulations to our winners. And I will stop sharing this screen. Boom. And I'm going to turn it over to Jake and Scott. I talk so much, I'm getting really thirsty. So I don't think I'm going to sip these beers. I'm going to just chug them. Blue Solo cups in hand. We're ready to go. Take it over. Emily, you're muted. Emily, you're muted.
Yay.
Yay, there we go.
Jake is still in the brewery, probably untaching hoses and sanitizing things, but he has asked me to start in lieu of his wonderful presence.
So your beer is sanitized. That's refreshing to know.
Everything is so sanitary in that brewery.
I bet it is. All right, I'll be quiet.
Oh, it's quite all right. I'm not really certain how he usually runs it or how y'all want to do it, but the first beer up is the cherry wheat. And that is one that is incredibly popular here. So much so that a lot of our staff has sort of been pushing to have it be more of a all year round beer rather than just a seasonal offering. But right now it's more of a spring and summer beer. One of my favorites, it is a little bit on the sweeter end of the spectrum. It's made with Door County cherries. So there's a little bit of brightness and tartness. But I don't know, taste it. Let me know what you think.
Okay, I'm sorry. Somebody was talking to me. Which one are we on here?
Cherry wheat, first one.
Cherry wheat, thank you.
Yeah, so anyone is welcome to ask any questions or interject. I might be able to answer questions. I will try. But this one's a little bit lighter, hence that's why it's the first one. So it's nice and bright, sort of crisp citrus tones. Thank you, Richard. I agree. We have, my cousin is the chef here at Hinterland, and he is basically obsessed with the cherry wheat. So that's
my video because they saw you. Okay.
So the cherry wheat's one that
do you want some?
Everybody's kind of fully behind. I'm trying to see if there's lights here. Yes, it should be an all year beer. There's another screen that I'm navigating here. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm still trying to do. Okay.
Yeah, and I can help you out too. Sorry about that. Definitely should be an all year beer.
So we're seeing what happens there. But it's something that's available at all of our spots, and it does have a lot of placement throughout sort of the Midwest area. Any questions or anything about this one? Not really. It's pretty straightforward, sort of easy. Now I hesitate to say drinkable beer as we got razzed for that. Yay, Jake's here. All right, we have our actual brewer here to save the day.
So Emily, one of our attendees asked, is the Door County cherry wheat on tap?
It is. It is on tap, and it is bottled currently. So you
And
can,
cans.
and cans down.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can grab
12 pack cans.
so you can come in and grab a growler, or you can get cans or bottles. And you're going from this good.
Cool.
And you just caught right on time.
Hi,
Jake's here,
everyone.
guys. All right, there's not a lot of action on this.
What is your distribution for Hinterland?
So we distribute through two different like retail distributors. Right now, most of our emphasis is on Wisconsin and some regional stuff, mostly in-state, a little bit into Chicago, and we're working on expanding as you know, as we always are. But right now, we're just pretty much all in, or mostly in Wisconsin, outside of a few accounts. Anyone have any questions about cherry wheat or?
One of the comments, thanks for the 6-pack. I gifted one of the cans to the UPS driver. So
Fun.
thanks. If my package doesn't arrive today, whoever said that, it's your fault.
Yeah, yeah. But depending on the beer, the UPS driver got a good deal out of that one.
Yeah, question was, are those Door County cherries?
They are. We get them from Sequest Orchard. So right now is this last year? Yeah, this is last year's harvest or this year's harvest. I can't remember, but yeah, they're all local. Down in Little Chute is where we pick them up. So just about 25-30 minutes south of here. So I think that's how far away it is.
Yeah, it's like south central Wisconsin.
Yeah. Not being originally from Wisconsin, I mean, my geography is still a little kind of out of not quite in
It's
line.
not dialed in yet. All right, are we ready to go to the next one?
Yeah, let's move on.
Do you sell those cool glasses in your gift shop, you guys?
We certainly do. We
Okay.
sell these little tasters. And you can always come into Hinterland and get a flight of beer. You don't have to get all 6, but you can. You can get more than 6, but it won't fit on a board.
Well, you only need what? Four boards and you can drink all the
of the
beers.
beers.
So,
Okay, Jake, I had another question. What is Boneshire?
oh, so I'm originally from like Pennsylvania, Maryland, and this is when I was in the Harrisburg area in PA. A good friend of mine who we started. He was a home brewer. I joined the home brewing club, and he started a brewery with. This is his second brewery, and it's just it was a cool shirt. But if you guys are ever if anyone is ever in the area or traveling to Pennsylvania through the central PA, he makes pretty good stuff. So
Get some Scrapple and then get a beer.
oh, absolutely, I recommend Scrapple. So Scrapple, I can't believe you guys don't have Scrapple here in Wisconsin.
Just wait. We might.
We don't have Yingling either.
Well, yeah,
But why have Yingling when you have all the Hinterland beers, right?
it's true. Well, we don't make an amber lager.
No.
So,
Right. One of the questions was, what yeast do you use in wheat beers?
So for this wheat beer, it's our house ale yeast, but it's technically an American wheat, but our WIT TF, which is not in this sampling, that one we use a specific Belgian wheat beer yeast for that, and just depends on which beers. Now the cherry wheat, it's been in rotation for so long that if we tried to change up the yeast, people might get a little upset, since it probably will change the flavor a good bit. So we use Nottingham, which is an English ale strain. So So this, what's the second beer? The second
Second
beer
one is the
is
Evergreen.
Evergreen. So this is actually a imagining of, not a reimagining. It's a revision on the Evergreen that we've had in years past. So these next four are part of our new hop pack, which features 4 different hoppier beers. So we have the Evergreen, the Citra Pale Ale, the regular IPA, and then our Jamaican Hazy IPA. But the Evergreen and the Citra, I believe right now it's the only place you can get the Evergreen in cans outside of the brewery. Well, you can't get the cans here at the brewery, but you can get them in the hot packs. And the Citra, I think we might be doing 6-packs for distribution at some point for that, but Citra and Evergreen actually have gotten revisions. So these are, if you've had them before, the Evergreen, we kind of took the hop profile and the base beer is basically the same, but we changed the hops. We didn't change the hops, we just kind of changed when we added them. So we kind of put a little new school twist on it. So the techniques of hopping and dry hopping and things like that have really improved over the last 5 to 10 years. And so we just basically are just kind of bringing that beer back, bringing it more modern, and also just kind of, we tweaked it so that it fit really well with the 4-pack, so that way you got 4 very good distinctive hoppy beers that kind of hit all of the areas where you want to go. But it's a light, super refreshing, just crushable, like session IPA. So it's got a nice moderate bitterness, and just a really like a refreshing. We drink a lot of it off the taps here in the brewery, so it's one of our favorites.
And when you say session IPA, what does that mean to people
Session-
that don't necessarily?
Session is like usually like 4 to 4.5 or lower % alcohol. It just basically means you can sit down and have 2 or 3 of them, and there's
Like
moderate effects.
You could drink it in succession.
Exactly,
Ah.
a session. So like a drinking session type, that was what that kind of implies. So lower alcohol usually. So it's the lightest alcohol wise of the 4 in the hot pack, or of those.
Question is, do you have any lager styles, and how does temperature differ for fermentation from your ales?
So we do have lagers. So obviously our Pilsner, Paco and Pilsner is a lager beer. Oktoberfest is a lager beer. I'm trying to think. We've done other ones in the past, but those are the only 2 that we've made since I've been here. Now it differs by about 10 degrees. So we ferment our lagers at 58 degrees. We start them out at 58 degrees Fahrenheit, which is cooler, which just helps to that way the colder temperatures, well, clarification on the backside, but during fermentation, the cooler the temperatures, usually the more muted the yeast character is. So you get like the reason why people love lagers so much nowadays is because the breweries have gotten very good at making them, but it's also a very good way to showcase the different grains, the different hops, because it really gives you a very clean palette to kind of play with in lagers as far as experimenting with flavors. Our ales are fermented at 68 Fahrenheit, our standard ales, and then our hazy lines, we use a 3rd type of yeast, which is, it's actually from Norway, or Scandinavia. No, Scandinavia. And sorry, it's been a long day. I literally just got done
I dragged him off the
processing
line.
and cleaning tanks and things like that. So we're still running some stuff, but Norwegian yeast it's called Kvike. If anyone has seen that on beer menus or things like that. So it's a very old type of yeast, but it is a very modern usage here in the brewery, and those ferment at like 95 Fahrenheit. So very, very warm. And what makes them very unique is the fact that if we tried to ferment, say, like cherry wheat or Evergreen or Citra or IPA or Punchki at 95, they would literally be undrinkable. We would have to totally dump the beer. So those yeast are very unique. So Jamaican haze is fermented almost 30 degrees warmer than every other beer that is going to be tried here today. So yeast is, I'm technically, I came here as the quality control manager and kind of evolved into brewer and doing a bunch of other things. So yeast is very much my, that's kind of what I came here as in my domain. So I'm very excited when people are interested in yeast.
What are your thoughts on can versus bottle?
Can versus, I mean, it just depends on the person, the format. Cans are very expensive right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because obviously the industry has gone so much towards cans over the last 2-3 years and really kind of stepped back from bottles. But with cans becoming so scarce and so expensive, they're probably going to see some higher percentages of bottled beer and things like that is my thought, unless the supply chains open up and it goes back to normal, but that usually takes a little bit. So well, we're either gonna see more bottles, or we're gonna see higher priced beers in cans. So that's kind of what where we're at right now with that. But for me, it's obviously like cans are, from a quality perspective, the best, because there's no light. There's, very like they're very sealed. It's perfectly sealed. It's a mechanical seal versus a contact seal, which is like a bottle. So, those bottle seals, when they, it comes down and it clamps down, it's just kind of crimped around it. Whereas the can actually, it creates an interlocking mechanism that is, it becomes the strongest part of the can. Actually, it's almost like a weld. So if you take two pieces of metal and weld them together, the strongest part of that two pieces of metal, if you've done it right, is the weld now, because of the way a lot of that stuff is. So it is better in that aspect. But right now our canner also is a pain. So canning is not fun either. So.
All right, next up is the Citra.
Do we want to go? So the Citra is the next one. So this, like the Evergreen, we gave it a facelift, and really the only change to Citra from years past is we actually changed the source of our orange peel. So we got an orange peel that is more citrusy forward, less pithy. So this batch of Citra actually is a little more fruit forward, a little sweeter than years past. Excuse me.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Well, I'm very happy with the way this came out, because it was my suggestion to change the fruit up, because I found I really enjoyed the other Citra. I found that if you drank more than one or two, like that white, the white of like those fruit rinds really started to come forward and just kind of made it a little bit unpleasant to drink it. But now there's no pithiness, and it's just a very nice mild hop bitterness, and just I think it's a very nice drinking citrus, style pale ale. So.
And we do have a question here. Sour beers have become a thing. Tastes like bad sanitation to me. Thoughts on sour beers?
So good sour beers should not taste like bad sanitation. There are definitely places out there that maybe don't have the best sanitation and have a beer that goes, and instead of doing the right thing and dumping it, they put it on tap or try to market it or something like that. But it's kind of like any other style. If you're gonna make it, you have to have a plan, and you have to have a direction, and also the knowledge and the equipment to do it correctly, especially on the production side. We do have barrel aging program here. I just saw that there was a question there. Yep. And we have, our beer that we're actually processing this week is our For Fruit's Sake, which is a imperial kettle soured wheat base. So that was aged in port barrels and then goes on to cherry. So it's kind of it's the big brother of cherry wheat that studied abroad and picked up some culture, and you know is kind of a little bit more
Bold.
bold, sophisticated. It's a little more nuanced. You know, the cherries are still very strong, but then there's the wine barrel character, and there is a little bit of, you know, anytime you age beer in barrels, especially wine barrels, they can pick up some funk. So this batch of tannin, that's, you know, big barrel component, but this batch of Fruit Sake is going to have a little bit more of the kind of the funky wildness. It's not over the top or anything like that, but that's something to that we're going to be. I'm excited to get that one in cans and out there. So it's going to be pretty good.
I think we're up to date on the questions.
Yeah. Well, no, there's another one.
Oh, there you go. Collaborations. Any projects with other brewers?
So quick, there was we use
And now whiskey.
Well, we use bourbon. We use bourbon whiskey barrels for our Lunatic, which is our imperial stout, which we did last November and filled. So they'll be coming out of barrels in September, October for November release. So they spend 9 months in fresh whiskey barrels. We also have port wine barrels, which we use for Fruit Sake, and tequila barrels, which we use for Paloma. So we have a pretty broad barrel selection to pick from.
What was Charlene in?
Charlene was for the same base as last year's for Fruit Sake, that spent, instead of only 4 months in port barrels, it spent 13 months in port barrels. So
a full year plus.
So it's Charlene is much more of a, which if you come to the brewery, you can get it. I don't know if we distribute that one anywhere. I don't know. But that actually is probably for anyone that's really interested in funky barrel-aged beers. And that's actually one of
it's cool.
my favorite styles. Charlene, I hadn't had it in a while, and the last week, and I tried one, and I've basically had one every day since then, because it's just like, oh man, that's so good. Yeah, so we have a pretty broad barrel program here, which is very cool. So
there's a couple, real quick, there's a couple questions that are under the Q&A. I'll just read them to you quickly. There's the saying, I don't want to see how sausage is made. Does the same hold true with beer? And do you still drink a lot of beer?
It depends. There are certain, so for instance, like the really big places, the really big breweries that are doing a lot of like for instance, White Claw and seltzers, it's just powdered chemicals, fruit extracts like that.
You don't want to see that.
That one you don't really want to, but beer is, I actually, my biggest, not issue, but like something I miss the most from home brewing that you really don't get in professional brewing is being able to visually see the fermentation, because in home brewing, we have these glass carboys that are obviously clear, and you can actually see the yeast and the rising and falling and circulating. And it's very cool, and it's very mesmerizing.
It's like a lava lamp that you drink.
Yeah, it's a lava lamp you end up drinking. That's a perfect description. But and that's one thing I miss. And I kind of like I'm used to seeing 5 gallons at a time. It'd really be interesting to see what 120 barrels of beer looks fermenting on the thing. But I don't think a glass sheet or plexiglass sheet would be a very sanitary way to do that. So that's that's one thing. But so I actually think I think you will appreciate beer more if you watch how it's made, because there is so much physical labor that goes into producing a single batch of beer. It's really crazy. I mean, when I started here at the brewery, I weighed 315 pounds. I now weigh 246, and my diet has not changed. I'm just gonna, I went from being a scientist to being a brewer, and I've lost 70 pounds in 2 years.
Good
So
science.
yeah, it's good science. That's
Also-
if you guys want to lose weight, just work at a brewery.
You can come and help us package.
Yeah.
Also, brewing kind of looks like witchcraft to me, because it's making little potions and stirring and.
Well, there's a lot of history there, actually. That that was witches brew and things like that. Like that was
All
the whole. That's I love beer history, and that's one thing that kind of is very glossed over is the fact of how much impact women had on small local traditions and local brews, because when we were still non-industrialized, brewing beer and having beer was done by the household in the home, and that was done by women. And so all beer at one point in the world was made by women, which is really like, you're like, what? You don't think about it. So like witches brew and things like that is kind of when they started shifting towards men in brewing and things like that. Women who brewed, especially women who were older and say, brewed on their own for like their community, like they kind of got pushed into this weird little like slot, and like they were called witches. And it's very, the history of women in brewing is an extremely interesting one. So yeah.
Very interesting. So there's a couple other questions. I'm going to read the other one from the Q&A part. Everyone has a beer they just can't get into. For example, smoked beer for this guy. What kind of beer is just not your thing?
I really enjoy smoked beers. I know a lot of people that don't. For me, it's more certain aspects of beer. There's not really a beer style I don't like, but for instance, there are certain hops that I get, like mosaic hops. I very rarely enjoy beers made with a large amount of mosaic hops, because to me, it tastes like I'm eating a handful of green onions. And so, and a lot of people don't realize that. And then I say it, and then they taste it, and then they're mad at me because I ruined something. I ruined their, what they're tasting. And like, I would say there's probably not a style of beer
So is it pretty safe to say that you probably don't drink, Budweiser, Miller, Coors Light, Miller Lite?
There's a time and place for everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. Someone hands me a beer, I'm gonna drink it. I mean, that's it's rude not to. But yeah, I'm not gonna be. I won't be seeking them out. Like there's. That's definitely.
Cool. Now that one of those Yeti coolers y'all were giving away, that sounds like a great idea.
But for smoked beers, there's probably a beer. Whoever asked that question, there's probably a smoked beer you would enjoy. It just has to be done the right kind of way. That's one thing that I have found, is that you can say I don't like this style, but I bet I can make a beer in that style that you can go, oh yeah, I'll drink that. It might not be your favorite beer, but you're not gonna dump it out. I'll put it that way.
Are there any other Q&A ones?
In the chat, there are some. No more in the Q&A though.
Okay, well, you guys, please bottle Brewer's Breakfast.
What's Brewer's Breakfast?
Dave, what's Brewer's Breakfast?
Yeah, I don't know what that one is.
That sounds like just hops in a bowl with milk, right?
I'd hope not. That would be a very bitter meal.
That.
I sampled it at a beer festival. Oh, it must have been from. I mean, it's over 2 years old, because I've been here for 2 years now and I haven't heard of that. So I'll ask Scott and Joe and see if that's something people are interested in. I mean, we're always looking for new ideas to bring things back. I'm hoping to resuscitate another line here this winter, hopefully, if all things work out. We'll see how the year goes, but yeah, I'll have to remember that one. I saw a question about collaboration. So we haven't done, obviously, with the pandemic and things like that. This year we haven't. We have in the past, and actually this year's locals only beer, which is being brewed by Zambaldi Beer in, where are they at? Are they in De Pere? I can't remember.
I believe so, but
I think they're in De Pere. But we actually grew the yeast here at Hinterland, because we have a yeast propagator. And so the yeast that was used on that beer, so the locals only is kind of all of the breweries that elect to do it kind of get together, talk about the style. Usually the brewery where the beer is being brewed at is the one that picks the style, and obviously there's give and take, and everyone kind of gives their 2 cents, but it kind of comes down to whoever is actually on the brew house, which is honestly should be the way it is, because if they're brewing the beer, they should have most say in it. But I believe it's a Mexican style lager with lime and something else. It's going to be very drinkable, very refreshing, very perfect for summer. So we're excited. We're excited to try that, and I believe we will have that on tap here.
What are we calling it? Locals only?
It's just locals only, and then I don't know if he came up with a name for it or not, but so it'll be if you're looking on the shelf. So for instance, last year's locals only was the Oreo cookie pastry stout made by I think it was made at Anape, and so that was it. There. So this one it'll probably be distributed wherever else Sambaldi beer is. So.
All right, and Dave says that the brewer's breakfast had hints of French toast, blueberries, bacon. What?
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I'm into that. For the smoky flavors, is that peat moss like in Scotch whiskey, or other ways to develop smoke flavors? So are you using peat, or how are we?
So I don't know how that one was done. If it's bacon, I'm guessing that it's probably either cherry wood or applewood smoked malts. So there are pretty much anything that you can smoke meats with, any wood that you would smoke meats with, there are malt versions of those. So there's cherry wood, applewood, beechwood. Beechwood is actually the original smoke malt. So that's the one that is.
I hear about that one more often.
That's the malt that actually makes the German Rausch beer, which is like the quintessential smoked beer is that beer. So that's beechwood. Is where that wood comes from. But I would say it was probably, I really enjoy cherrywood smoked malt because I think it tastes like candied bacon. So I have a feeling that that's probably that's my guess as to what was in it.
Okay, we do have 3 more beers. So the next beer is the IPA, but before we do the tasting, I just want to show y'all, I don't know if you can see the difference between the IPA and the hazy, just the color. That might be kind of cool to note. I'm sure not everybody has actual glassware.
Yeah, the IPA is very bright, as traditional West Coast IPA should be. It's got a good amount of pine and that kind of very nice hop forward flavor. A nice malty backbone that kind of helps combat that higher IBU level that we have in our IPA. So when I'm craving a West Coast IPA, it's definitely, I'd say maybe to that question earlier, West Coast IPA is probably my least favorite style of beer.
All right, Jeff thinks that our hazy is solid. It's more hoppy than average.
It is actually. If anyone here has had Heady Topper from The Alchemist in Vermont, that beer's bitter. And that's like the original hazy New England. I mean, that's why it's called New England
everyone's obsessed with.
Style IPAs. And that's actually something that I wanted to do when we were designing the Jamaican haze, is make sure that it actually had a bitter backbone to it. Now, it's not crazy hoppy, not crazy bitter, but it's more assertive than what is traditionally assumed to be in hazy IPAs nowadays, for sure.
What's your favorite hop?
Hallertau Blanc. It's an old world hop. It's definitely not a sexy hop or anything. It's not Galaxy or Mosaic or Amarillo or any of these others that you see commonly on IPA. So Hallertau Blanc you would typically see in more delicate beers. So light pilsners, saisons, like mixed fermentation beers. It just imparts a very, very pleasant, like herbaceous hoppiness, but then it gives a very, very pronounced, like white grape, gooseberry aroma flavor, which I very, very much enjoy.
So like Sauvignon Blanc vibe?
Yeah, it's Hallertau Blanc. That's kind of where the name, yeah, it's definitely, it's a little more grape, like grape flesh, white grape skin. So I really, really enjoy it in like wood aged saisons and those types of things. A little more delicate because it complements those beer styles better than just the IPAs where they kind of take over and are the predominant flavor aroma.
I love the haze. It feels so much more mellow to me than the regular traditional IPA. Just there's like a
Jamaican.
Yeah, there's just such a nice roundness to it.
So that roundness that Emily was just talking about, that's actually done. We actually add different types of salts to the our hazy beers than we do to our standard ones. So normally all our regular beers, we have our water, we use what's called gypsum or calcium carbonate, and it essentially makes the beer a little bit more, it makes the bitterness come through a little cleaner, a little more like sharp, where like, so if you drink the IPA, that bitterness kind of pricks you a little bit more on the tongue. And it kind of plays with the effervescence of the beer. Whereas the Jamaican haze, we do have gypsum in there, but we also add calcium chloride, which is another type of essentially salt. And so the chloride ion in that salt actually it causes the bitterness to be more rounded, as you said. It gives that's in addition to oats, that salt is what accounts for a lot of the softer mouthfeel in hazy IPAs that everyone really like, why they enjoy them, because it rounds the bitter compared to like the West Coast IPAs.
All right, when they say, first of all, have you thought of trying a birch-based
beer? I have not, but there are like
someone has.
I'm sure there. I wonder. I don't know if birchwood is the one that there's an old tradition, and this is I have kind of brewing history. Gets back to the Kvike. They actually would hollow out. They would cut a log in half, hollow it out, and then they would take the hot wort and basically pour it at the top and let it run down the wood into the vessel. And basically by the time like you would control your flow rate, and that was how they chilled their wort, or was a technique that they used to chill their wort.
It was wood chilled.
Wood chilled. Really, it's air chilled, but they just used wood as a more or less a luge. But I believe birch is one that is pretty commonly used for that because of its pretty
straight up and
right?
down.
Yeah. So like that's one that because as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, that's familiar. But
Beer luge.
Yeah. I wish we had a photo. I've lobbied for one.
Like, you're the guy that can make it happen. All right. When they say it's double hopped IPA, what does that mean?
So it can mean a lot of things depending on the brewery, but in my mind, that just means that it was dry hopped at 2 different points during fermentation. So typically, so a lot of the hazies, like there's a buzzword, biotransformation, that a lot of people might see on some menus for the more like the breweries that kind of focus on hazies and things like that, because they're basically biotransformation says that there are.
I mean, just like.
So there are in hops, there are molecules that are basically a aromatic molecule that's bound to like a sugar molecule. And so what biotransformation is there are certain strains of yeast and other microorganisms that can actually eat that sugar molecule off of the aroma flavor, and that essentially kind of gives you more or a slightly different aroma and flavor. And so usually that double dry hop beers, they usually add hops while it's actively fermenting in hopes to get that biotransformation effect.
Does biotransformation also increase alcohol because of the sugar transfer?
Yes, it does, but like there's also a phenomenon called hop creep, which is a totally different. There's a lot of weird things that hops can do to beers, but the double dry hop just usually in my mind makes it, you dry hop it like probably like 2 to 3 days after the beginning of fermentation, and then a second dry hop to really do it. But what's interesting is all of the science that people, because there are people researching hop flavors and aromas and things like that in beer and how to best get them in, they're finding that it doesn't really make a difference. It's more about like types of hops and the way the beer is brewed and things like that. And they're actually, what we're finding is that waiting till fermentation is done and then actually making the beer a little colder, so it actually kind of drops some of the yeast out, and then dry hopping gives you a way better hop profile. And that's actually one that we've adopted on all of our hoppy beers to kind of give them a little bit better aroma. So
it's not unlike making tea.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
All right,
There was a question up above. I don't know if you missed it. It says, do you have a fodder? I'm pretty sure you have a fodder enema, right?
I wish we had a fodder. So they're essentially, for anyone who doesn't know what a fodder is, it's essentially a giant barrel. They're constructed in all sorts of different ways. You have, long, like horizontal cylinders, tall cylinders. There are eggs. There are a lot of Italian ones have like a taper to them that go up. The cool thing about foders though is because they're constructed differently. So there's the staves. So a normal like bourbon or like spirit barrel stave is about 1.5 inches thick. Wine is like 1.75 inches. Port is a little skinnier. But foders can be like 3 to 4 inches thick on their staves. So they're very, very hardy. I mean, there are foders that are over 100 years old that are still being used at breweries. Actually, one of my social media profile pictures is me standing next to a fodder at Allagash they bought from Belgium that was built in like 1893 or something like that. Like they're very, very cool. They just, they require a lot of. I want one, but I'd rather.
I don't know if we need. There's other things we could use.
Well, there's other people we could use. I mean, they're kind of.
We're gonna put bodies in the building before we get foders.
Yeah, we need some bodies in the brewery before I get a fodder. So.
Also, the next question is: are you a fan of Untapped?
Meh.
It's an app.
I mean, it's a good thing. It's
good as the input that's put into it.
Yeah, like that's one of my big irks about Untapped is people that just like I guess check if you just want to check in, that's fine. But I get really frustrated when people are like, I don't like fruited beers. I'm giving your fruited beer 2 stars. It's like, okay. Yeah, I figured that. Why would you like that's one thing I was like, why even rate it if you're like that? So
I already sent us the link to the Brewer's Breakfast.
So
we'll pull that
we'll
up.
have to look that one up. Yeah.
Thank you.
But I will say as a quality control person, once a week I'll kind of go on and scroll through and make sure no one's, that there's nothing
bashing your beers.
Well, not bashing, like because people don't like the flavor. Can't change that. That's not a big thing. But certain quality issues and things like that. You can, if people are, if you're seeing one type of beer that people are like, oh, this beer tastes like, really bad, and you're drinking, and what's going on? Then it kind of gives you a little bit of
it pings the radar.
Yeah, like a little bit of a forewarning that something might be amiss. But so I value it as a resource. I used to use it, but I don't use it anymore. So.
All right, we do have.
Yeah, we have the last beer is this year's Punchki. So this is not the 2021 version.
What? This is the 2020?
Yeah.
I will fix that.
So as you can tell, that we much like the Evergreen and the Citra, the Punchki. And this actually kind of gets back to Untapped. Last year's Punchki was the label and kind of what went into the beer, I think kind of took over what the intended style was. Like when we made the Punchki last year, it was kind of meant to be more of a traditional imperial stout that was just had donuts in it as a sugar source. And this year though, like this was one thing for the Untapped. A lot of people were very, very upset that it didn't have more raspberry, more sweetness, more, cocoa, more pastry stout notes. And so this year we changed the recipe. We didn't change it completely. There's still a lot of 2020s character in there, but we changed it up to give it a little bit more round, chocolatey. Chocolate flavor. It has raspberry on the nose. There it is. That's the right one. But it so this year's Punchki it finishes. It is a liquid donut. We
Oh, it's so
Oh.
different. God. It
Yeah.
didn't have the date on the year on there, so I was like, what?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's fine. It's very different. And it's just kind of like, that's one thing that Untapped as a value is a lot of people were very upset that there wasn't raspberry and those like more intense baking,
notes.
also donut character. So this, we kind of layered a lot more complex caramel malts and things that kind of give it a little bit more of that baked good kind of component. So
It tastes like a warm donut, not like a cold one. There's like for some
Well, it's-
reason that just.
well,
that-
there's 9% alcohol, so it's warming, or whatever alcohol the alcohol is. It's a warming. You know, the alcohol, it definitely it definitely contributes to that. But it's a very different beer. So if anyone had last year's Punchki, and if you liked it or hated it, it's interesting to try this year's. And what's funny is I've seen on Untapped people that really enjoyed last year's Punchki are just so upset that we changed it. And then there's the people that are like, oh, I gave it another shot and it's so much better this year. And it's like, okay, like we're never gonna please everyone. So do you ever
Before you read that, I think it's so cool, Jake, that like you tasted that beer and you're like, this is last year's. And that's pretty
so
impressive.
Very different. It's
Like,
insane.
I mean, I like to think I have a good palate, but it's very easy to tell the difference
Okay.
between these two beers.
Okay.
They are very,
Even
they're,
on the nose,
yeah,
it's kind of incredible.
it's very, very different. And like, for instance, if you put Evergreen and Citra in front of me blindfolded, it would be harder for that kind of stuff. Like, there's anytime there's less, but like they're very, very different beers.
The raspberry really, really pops in,
Yeah.
in the new 2021.
Yeah. So blend, what do you mean by blend? As in like finished beers, like two different finished beers blended into a single,
We
or
have a lot of guests that do that in house.
I enjoy doing it. I do that a lot as well. So if any, consistency or new flavor. So for consistency, no, what we do, so our brew house is a 30 barrel brew house. And so for instance, cherry wheat, we do like 120 barrels at a time. So essentially we do 4 brews over 2 days. So that's kind of a blending because there's 4 different brews that kind of get, homogenized into one.
It's a meritage.
Yeah. But on the post fermentation side, our a beer that we do, which I believe we're making it this year, called Grand Cru 22, which I know a lot of people are very big fans of, and we didn't do last year. I think we're doing it, but that is actually a blend of the bourbon barrel aged Grand Cru, a kettle soured Flanders red, and then that all gets blended together and added onto cherry. So we do practice blending for flavors and things like that. So yeah, just only on that, as of right now, only that one style. So
Stupid Flanders.
I like a Flanders red. So
That one is so good. It's so different.
I'm gonna do a little.
See, you're
I'm gonna
he's
blend.
blending
I'm
right
blending
now.
back. I'm blending back the old last year's Punchki to 2/3 old to 1/3 new.
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
I'm not the only one who did it today.
I'm doing like the Citra Pale Ale is my orange juice, and then the Punchki is my donut. It's like breakfast. It's a breakfast of champions right here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yep.
Right.
Any other questions? Any in the Q chat?
Nothing in the Q&A.
No. I apologize for coming in late. I did not
Oh, you
plan
were-
on.
you were
Yeah,
right
we're
on
gonna-
that.
We're gonna take it out. We're gonna take it out of your paycheck. Don't worry. We got it.
Yeah, I was processing a beer. It just ended up taking about 2 hours longer than I anticipated. So
Richard
All right,
wants
no,
to
that's
know
fine.
Maplewood Meats.
I have not been to Maplewood. Not been to Maplewood Meats yet. It is, I have heard of it and I do plan on visiting. I just haven't been there yet. So,
Thank you, Jeff.
thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Anything else?
Any other questions?
I don't see any question. How much beer do you guys produce in a week?
It varies by week.
Does it vary? Okay.
So the year prior to the pandemic, we did 7,800 barrels, which is pretty good size. We were hoping to get into during 2020, we were hoping to get into the 10K range. With as slow as the beginning of this year was, I don't know that I think I'm pretty sure we'll be over 5,000 barrels this year. I'm not sure. I could check if I have my computer. I could check and tell you exactly how much beer we've produced so far this year. But I mean, things are coming back online and
Awesome. Yeah.
So yeah.
Good stuff.
Richard, we will definitely be open, so feel free to stop by.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Richards on here, but for all our attendees,
Richard Chamberlain is the only
for all
one.
our attendees, if you've never been to Hinterland on the corner of Lombardi and Fisk, no, not Fisk,
Ridge.
It's an awesome place. They have great food. The only bad part of this whole thing is they used to be a block from my work, and they're not anymore. So I gotta drive a little bit more. But no, it's an awesome place. They have super people, super food. So yeah, if there's no more, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, and we are going to be in the coming weeks. I think we will begin doing some tours and things like that for for if you call ahead with a group and things. I don't think we're going to do any pop-in ones as far as we are, but we are going to be.
We're getting ready to do the guided tours.
Yeah, I think we're doing that. So be on the lookout for. I'm sure we'll announce that on social media,
website,
all that stuff.
all the things.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions? Otherwise, I think we'll close it up for the day and get everybody out of here on a Thursday. I'll just give it 2 seconds here. Yeah, Jake, Emily, right? Thanks for your time today. It was awesome. You guys did fabulous, and I'm sure we'll do another one of these in the future. So, to all our attendees, thanks on behalf of Rick Chernick and Scott Dunzire, and on Dell, from Dell. Thank you for attending, taking time out of your schedules. Enjoy the rest of your beer, and everybody stay safe.
Thank you guys so much.
Great, thank you.
Jinx Punchki.
Good job, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Take care. Yep.
Cheers.